Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today I have the team from Vpply here, James, Tom, and Alex. How are you?
Yeah, good,
Yeah,
thanks.
good, thank
How are
you.
you?
Good,
Good,
thanks.
good, good. So I'm excited to understand your story. Excited to understand how you're changing the HR recruitment sort of industry, and understanding how you are providing a solution that makes hiring fairer for candidates. But let's start with your story. So what is your background and how did you get to this point? We'll start with James.
How you going? Yeah, good. So, I mean, my background is in hospitality. So, I'm one of the directors of Viral Ventures. We own Karen's Diner, which has got 15 restaurants. We're an experienced company. We run about 500-600 events a year globally in about 40 different markets. We've got about 250 staff on payroll. So, we've got a lot of staff that either short term or long term that sit within the business. So we use Vpply as a way to screen staff and hire staff fast. The Vpply has been a great tool for us ultimately as a business, and something we've been able to kind of use instead of other job boards out in the market. We find it a great way to screen candidates initially. So it really works for our business. And Vpply was obviously something that I got involved with Tom and Alex. From a very early stage, we started talking about different concepts in recruitment space. And Tom's got a really extensive background in HR. I've kind of been in sort of tech for probably about 6 or 7 years, marketing for 20 years. Got a ticketing platform as well. So we've got over 1 million users on that platform. So yeah, for my background, based in Melbourne, English originally, and met Alex probably about 5 years ago in Sydney, and Tom probably just after that.
Awesome. Thanks for giving us your background. Tom,
Yeah.
how about you?
Yeah, good to see you, Daniel. My background, like James touched on, so it's actually in the recruitment sector, which is obviously really handy in terms of working at Vpply. So I worked for a company called Adzuna, which is a job aggregator from the UK, and it launched in Australia probably about 7 or 8 years ago now. It's a joint venture with Fairfax. I was one of the first salespeople there on the ground. And a couple of years after that, I moved over to Indeed. And again, I was one of the first people at Indeed in Australia looking after Asia Pacific. I got to travel all the way from Hong Kong to Christchurch and everywhere else in between, looking after the likes of Randstad and Hayes and the biggest recruitment companies globally. So yeah, really, really exciting time to be working in a startup space for someone who's really well backed by an American conglomerate. So that's my background.
Awesome. And then last, Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. My background, I've been in business for about 2 decades now. First foray was into business. I was a co-founder of the Cupcake Bakery. I co-founded that with my wife. We were in the sort of the fast food sort of cafe retail space. We franchised as well, and we operated on the Eastern Seaboard. We divested out of that, and I got into the financial field through stockbroking. I met Tom a few years ago through that space, and together with James, we put together Vpply, which was a new technology where, just because we've been sort of hiring people, multiple people over time, the whole traditional way of recruiting with resumes and paper, it's just really archaic. There's a lot of biases that are involved with that, and with the use of Vpply, you're able to see someone's personality shine through, and not have biases on names, etc., etc. We think that's really relevant in 2022. The big add-on with Vpply, that because I use it almost on a daily basis with my business, is we work in all hours of the night. We also run a hedge fund, so we're trading all markets. Sort of, I was about to say 24/7, but more like 24/5 days a week, Monday to Friday. And so when we get a bit of downtime, instead of, if I'm going to get onto resumes, and James, I guess, would see this from, his global business as well, is that I'm not going to look at a resume and think, oh, okay, you know what, John Smith's really good. I'm going to give him a call straight away. I can watch John's video and he can tell me what he's all about, why he's perfect for the role. And I can watch that at 2:30 in the morning. We can then sort of shortlist people, and then have a video interview, which is pre-recorded. So we can basically do the first round of Vpply again. So really, it really can cut out, 60 to 70% of the whole recruitment time through video. And then we can basically shortlist on the final interviews where we actually do, a proper face-to-face and shortlist from there. So it's actually a real time saver, and we can effectively interview en masse. And so when you're interviewing en masse, the filtering process is a little bit better as well. So, there'd be a lot of people that, perhaps don't necessarily present well on paper that would have been perfect for the role. And, it sort of expands the, you can't fit a square through a triangle window. So it Vpply sort of changes all of that and disrupts the whole space.
Yeah. And you make a really good point. In large corporations, the recruitment process can take a few months. So what you do is seemingly cut down the process and be able to watch videos, get an understanding of someone's personality, on your own schedule, instead of organizing the first round of interviews or phone calls, which takes up a lot of time.
Absolutely.
It cuts down labor costs, it streamlines the business. But an important one that's sort of come to light in the last few years is those subconscious biases that people have been experiencing for decades now, where subconsciously you put resumes to the side for unknown reasons, and those people could be the perfect candidate. You just don't know what their personality looks like. So this is changing the way that we hire. So I really like the opportunity. As a business owner, I'm going to put my employer hat on. Help me understand the solution. Walk me through it. How does it work? What does it look like from a customer point of view?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that one, Daniel. So I think, the first thing to point out is that Vpply is a job board. We do everything video related. But yeah, the real interesting part is that we integrate with all the major applicant tracking systems. So as a hiring manager, we don't ever want you to leave your systems. We want you to stay inside it. Obviously you've got a lot of CVs, a lot of different sort of things you need to go through within your system. So when you post a job, you can post on, use multi-posters. So you can post, on Seek, Indeed, and many other different platforms. So we are one of those platforms. So through automation, we actually have about 65,000 jobs on the platform at the moment. Wow. In multiple countries. Yeah. So, once you tick that box, we automatically post onto Vpply, which is awesome. So every time someone comes onto our site, they see fresh jobs popping up. So again, if you post a job on Vpply, a job seeker would engage with that job on our platform. They have an opportunity to add a CV and, additional information as well. But the main part is obviously the video. So they know that once they click apply, a video will pop up, a recorder will pop up, and they actually can do a little mini pitch, that obviously tailors the job they're applying for. So on the back end, you press play, and within 30 seconds or so, you can actually qualify, hey, this is someone that meets the culture of my company, meets the values, it's who I'm after. And obviously, like we touched on, the name is not important, right? The gender is not important. It's all about like, how does that individual represent and meet, what you're trying to hire for. So yeah, that's how it works.
Awesome. And then from the candidate point of view, how is it different to current processes? Because that's as someone who's been through, on both sides. When I was looking for jobs, a number of years ago, and I was applying, it was a long and tedious process to apply for a job. So how does it change?
Yeah, look, even simpler for the job seekers. Once they engage with our jobs. So again, the cool thing about Vpply is that we actually have partnerships, and we can post on job aggregators as well. So they can find our jobs through many different mediums. And once they click on that job, again, the camera just pops up, records what they say. We have a speech to text technology, so everything's transcribed. And for the hiring managers, that's obviously pretty useful, because they can pick up the keywords that people say that might not be in the CVs. But yeah, super quick process. Obviously, people are so engaged and so engrossed in the phones these days. How do we make it super quick, straight to the point? So, they look at the job ad, click Vpply, 30 seconds later, they've applied for that job, and the application goes straight into that applicant tracking system. So yeah, super fast.
Awesome. So let's talk about the traction. You mentioned 65,000 jobs in multiple countries. Tell me about that. Tell me about the countries you're working in, some of the partners you have, just to give us an idea on how far along you are and at what stage and what you've been managed to, you've been able to achieve.
Sure. Yeah. So look, we obviously launched initially in Australia. Quite quickly, we moved over to New Zealand, which was just a natural way to test a new market. We have a tech hub in Jakarta, Indonesia. So again, that was the next sort of phase for us. Like, how do we launch in Indonesia? So we're actually doing quite a lot of jobs in Bali, right? So how do, for Australians that have an opportunity to work for 3 months in a different market. So yeah, I've got ex-colleagues of mine from Indeed who are actually working in Bali for the likes of HubSpot at the moment. And yeah, so we're trying to encourage companies to post jobs in Bali to get Aussies to work abroad. Then we moved over to the UK. So we're actually live on the video interview and a few different video capabilities in the UK. And yeah, we've done a soft launch in the US as well, in a couple of cities. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. We've done conferences globally as well. So we did Unleash, which is a global HR conference in Paris, which was about a month ago. So we're definitely getting, the word out there. We're speaking to the likes of L'Oreal and, some amazing companies that are really interested in using us. So yeah, for us, we'll get to the why are we raising money, but yeah, obviously we just want to launch in different markets and grow a lot faster than we're doing at the moment.
Perfect. Awesome. Great. So tell me about the industry. I mean, we touched on it before about the pain points you're trying to solve, but let's further expand into that. What have you seen as being someone who's in the has been in the recruitment space for quite a while, and the tech space? How have you seen it change, and what pain points are you solving?
Yeah, the automation of qualifying job seekers. So we touched on that. For some of my clients, we actually gave them 30,000 applications to one job.
Wow.
And while it might sound amazing, like, wow, look at all those job seekers, it's a massive pain point. So how do you get to the hire faster? There's a lot of different bots that go through and pick up keywords from CVs. But again, is that the right solution? Because, I could quite quickly Google how to write a perfect CV and apply for a job to be a neurosurgeon and get an interview there. I'm just wasting everyone's time. I think, the great thing about video and applying with video, that you can't really hide who you are. You can overemphasize, over-record, and, not be your true self. But again, why would you do that, right? So if you're actually engaging with a company and doing a video recording, you know what you're getting on the other side. So saying that, video has definitely been more on the up in the recruitment industry. There's a few different video interview platforms that are sort of popping up. However, in terms of that traditional job board approach and applying for jobs with video, yeah, it's quite a unique fact about, what Vpply does.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, great. So now we'll get into the interesting part. Tell us about the raise, how much you're raising, what's it being used for, what's the offer, and what's the momentum you've had.
I'll give
Yeah,
that
sure,
to
Daniel. So, you know, we're raising $1 million. You know, we're really wanting to take it to the next step because this is our second round of raising now. We initially raised 300,000 really to get this off the ground and to launch. This is a post-revenue launch now, so we're really wanting to raise $1 million to launch into the United States and to launch into a bigger way into Europe. We recently did a recruitment conference over in Paris, and we got a fair bit of interest there. So it's really all it is it's basically going to be, you know, the tech is basically 80% done. Sure, it's going to be an iterative process that's just going to get better and better. But it's going to be just client acquisition. So basically marketing the actual brand and marketing the product to different recruiters. That's going to be, I would call it, you know, 85% of what these funds are going to be used for the expansion. And to be honest with you, with client acquisition for the Vpply job board or video job board, you know, the sort of cost per acquisition is actually quite low if you market well, which we found.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
so
I actually love it, to be honest. I'm as much a sort of a customer as one of the founders. Yeah, we use it all the time when we put our jobs out there. You can actually really see, as Tom said, you know, when somebody applies, you can tell sort of in the first 10 seconds whether they're right for the job or not, like immediately. Whereas if you had a sort of a paper resume emailed to you from Seek or Indeed, you know, you'd have to shortlist them, you'd be umming and ahhing, and then you won't really know until you call them, you know, 2 days down the track. And then you forget, because you forget the conversation. You can't record the conversation. Yeah. Whereas a video, you can just rewatch it and you think, yeah, nah, actually that's confirmed. This is the right person for the job.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% correct. Having gone through, you know, multiple rounds of hiring people, the time it takes to go through and read every single CV and put them in a short list, and then, you know, reach out and say, okay, I want to call this one and this one and this one, and then each call goes for half an hour. And you know, you may speak to you know 10 people in the first round or 20 people in the first round. That's a day or two worth of work that's taken out of your time. All that could have been with you know maybe an hour watching, you know, videos, and then you can say, okay, well, I like these ones. I'm gonna reach out. These candidates have the, you know, the personality that I'm looking for, and I want to reach out. So you've really condensed the process, saving a lot of time, effort, and resources for you know, companies. Now, if anybody,
it's actually it's different to just a video job board. It's like a recruitment partner, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, we've used it for in obviously in hospitality space with the venues, the bars. I mean, we can what we've done in the past is we'll see the applicant videos in Vpply, and then, you know, we'll put them straight on the floor. You know, we can go straight from seeing them, having a second follow-up video, straight onto the floor for trial shifts. You know, and that is through everything from front of house to supervisors, straight into venues, and that's saved us heaps of time in the interview process, having to do recruitment days and all sorts of stuff like that. We can just go, yep, cool, Shelley's great, she's on the floor Friday night for trial shifts. And, you know, it saves a lot of time for us as a business. And when we're doing that at scale, we've got 15 restaurants currently, excluding some of the other venues that we've got that we use the platform for. You know, it makes it a lot easier for the hiring managers for our company, for sure. So I think for hospitality, especially in the market at the moment, it's challenging enough to try and find hospitality staff. So to cut out the time saved on that as well, there's a lot of time wasters in the space. So trying to find the right candidates quickly is ideal for us. You know, and as we grow as a business as well, Vpply and also Viral Ventures and Karen's, we're scaling up that business as well. So we're just going to use that in the UK, where we've got 3 restaurants. We're starting to test it out there. And in the US, where 40% of our business operates, we'll be using the platform there when we're there. So, yeah, certainly. And, I think we've spent a lot of money in the past on platforms like Seek and Indeed, and this is working out about 5 times cheaper, so I think that's one of the major things as well. So not only is it more effective, it's working out cheaper as well. There's a lot of good campaign stuff that we've been doing at Vpply for Karen. So we're planning on doing a lot more for that. So I think once we start getting some similar players in the space, and especially in hospitality and even in the sales space as well, I think a lot of sort of face-to-face stuff is perfect, but also senior management, like our head office team. I think half the team that we've got in our Melbourne office was hired on Vpply. Which is ridiculous, but it's true. We've had a couple of, and it's just because it's been a really good way for us to sort of gauge the personalities. And then once you see that come through, it's really easy. You're almost confident jumping onto the phone and giving them the job straight away. You've already sort of done your research into them. You've seen the video. That you're almost ready to hire straight away. But yeah, it's just certainly a great way to get that first stage done. And with the interview aspect of it as well, it's just, you're almost ready to hire from the moment they apply if they're the right candidate. So, yeah, definitely been exciting to see the progress over a short period of time that Vpply has been active for. It's only been 2 years since the business has been, essentially full time. And I think that the traction over the last sort of 3 or 4 months has just been incredible. So I think the more it can scale up and test into new markets, we're certainly going to see a hell of a lot more traction.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, we're going to leave it at that. It's great to chat to you. I'm really excited to see where you go. I know, you're aiming for the right markets. You've already got traction in the US and the UK, and you've got really good partners. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Anybody who's watching this and wants to get in touch with Vpply, I'll put the details down below and I can connect you directly to the team. But thank you very much, guys, for jumping on. It's been great to chat to you.
Thanks a lot.
And yeah, I'm really excited.
Thank you.
I need that solution.
Thanks, Daniel.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.